When we first heard the news that that the bus was running late or had not arrived, then we all got worried.
Now at 5:30, a frightening time for families when a bus full of students goes missing.
They were bright, hopeful, and ready for the future. 27 seniors from Forest Grove High, class of 1999. On graduation weekend, they boarded a bus for a celebratory trip into Oregon's wilds. Then, they vanished. 22 years later, one startling discovery in the Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest would unravel a hidden truth few could imagine. The last great adventure. In the final days of May 1999, the excitement at Forest Grove High was almost electric. Laughter echoed in corridors, yearbooks flew open for signatures, and teachers exhaled relief, ready for summer. 27 graduating seniors planned their big send-off, a trip into the vast woods of southern Oregon. For them, it was the ultimate taste of freedom. Under star-filled skies, they dreamed of bonfires, late-night dares, and inside jokes that would carry them into adulthood. Nobody suspected how drastically their story would change. The bus rolled out on a clear Saturday morning, waving goodbye to proud parents. By Sunday evening, authorities realized that bus had never arrived. A frantic search began. A school bus gone missing. When families and friends tried to reach the group by phone, they got static or straight voicemail. The campground site, set deep in the Rogue River-Siskiyou region, reported 0 visitors matching their description. Concern escalated into alarm. State police were alerted by Monday morning. Helicopters took to the skies, scanning for fresh tire tracks. Volunteers gathered in droves, combing well-worn trails and hidden dirt roads. Each passing hour, without any sign of the bus, brought fresh panic. Where could they have gone? All 27 of them, plus the driver, an unfamiliar substitute named Harold Griggs. Rivers were searched, ravines were checked. Yet the forest offered no clues, no cry for help, nothing at all. The first haunting clue. A few days into the search, a single eerie clue surfaced miles from the intended campsite, a battered disposable camera case lying in the mud near the riverbank. It was half-buried, waterlogged, and missing its film. Investigators clung to the possibility that the pictures might have shed light on the students' whereabouts, if only the film had still been inside. Why was it removed, and where did it go? That question fueled more theories. Some speculated the group staged an elaborate prank. Others whispered about foul play. A chill settled over Forest Grove. How could an entire bus vanish into thin air without anyone seeing or hearing a thing? Unsolved for years. Weeks turned into months. Search teams exhausted every avenue, even bringing in specialized cadaver dogs to sniff out any human remains. The media pounced on every rumor: alien abductions, secret cult activity, or a mass runaway scheme. Experts dismissed the wildest claims, but they had no solid leads either. For families, each passing day blurred into endless worry. Despite dedicated law enforcement efforts and thousands of volunteer hours, no bodies, no bus, and no sign of the driver ever materialized. By the end of 1999, the public spotlight cooled. Other news stories took over. Many felt uneasy calling it cold, but law enforcement had few options left. Eventually, the case turned into a quiet enigma, seemingly buried forever. Memories frozen in time. Back in Forest Grove, time couldn't stand still. Though it felt that way for the families, bedrooms remained untouched. Trophies on dressers, posters on walls, like shrines. Each year, parents held vigil on the supposed anniversary of that doomed trip. Some lit candles, others left notes in case their children somehow returned. A memorial board was displayed, in the high school hallway with 27 photos. As new students walked past, the pictures of missing seniors looked eternally young, forming a heartbreaking collage of a class that never came home. When asked, old-timers recounted the day they saw that bright yellow bus roll away. Nobody could shake the sense that a hidden piece of history had stolen their children's future. The shocking re-emergence. On June 3, 2021, an experienced hiker named Travis Warren found himself deep in the Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest, exploring unmarked terrain. Thick moss clung to tree trunks, and the undergrowth made every step a challenge. Then he saw a flicker of yellow metal in a sunlit gap. Curious, he pushed aside vines to reveal a battered school bus, almost fully consumed by nature. Rusted panels, shattered windows, and a partial number, 57. Inside, seats were ripped and damp, strewn with mildewed backpacks. The air reeked of decay. Then, near the back, an unmistakable sight: human bones. Horrified, he scrambled out and called authorities, setting off a renewed wave of investigation and dread. Forensics on scene. Police and forensic teams arrived swiftly, roping off the area like a sacred tomb. The bus's location baffled everyone. No roads nearby, no record of how such a large vehicle could have gotten there. Forensic investigators donned protective gear, photographing every detail. They found about half the seats still bearing waterlogged personal items, IDs, old class notes, and cassette tapes labeled Grad Trip 1999. Beneath decaying layers of leaves, they spotted multiple skeletons. Some were entangled in seatbelts, others slumped on the floor. Early counts suggested at least 17 sets of remains. But what stunned investigators most was a chilling arrangement of certain objects, like keepsakes deliberately placed, telling a story that no words could convey. Confirming a tragic link. Dental records and partial DNA tests matched the remains to several of the missing seniors. The news devastated the families, but also forced them to confront an impossible question. How had the bus ended up deep in uncharted territory? Wildlife and weather had made the crime scene nearly unrecognizable. Forensic techs meticulously catalogued every scrap: moldy jackets with the school logo, half-shredded photos featuring smiling teenagers. One seat contained a rotted bag with yearbooks. The graffiti scrawled on page margins suggested fear, desperation, and possibly conflict among the group. Arrows pointed to certain names, as though someone was mapping out distrust. The evidence implied more than just a freak accident. Something malevolent lingered in that forest. Puzzling the missing count. While 17 bodies were found in the bus, the original group had 27 students, plus the substitute driver. That left at least 11 missing individuals unaccounted for. Were they wandering out there somewhere, surviving off the land, or had the forest claimed them too, leaving no remains? Investigators expanded their search radius, but dense terrain hindered quick progress. Local volunteers felt an echo of 1999, another scramble to find young faces that might never be found. Yet the newly discovered skeletons and personal belongings told a terrifying story. This bus had been hidden intentionally. No easy route led to where it was found. Something or someone wanted to keep it buried. But why? Strange symbols and drawings. Amid the damp heaps of notebooks, one item stood out: a spiral journal wrapped in plastic and tucked between seats. It bore intricate pencil sketches, some peaceful, like campfire gatherings under starry skies. Others were disturbing: hooded figures, towering trees with eyes, and cryptic symbols no one recognized. Handwriting on the cover read, "Property of Emily T." Emily Tran was listed among the missing seniors. Curiously, pages near the end depicted a circle of figures around a bonfire, with the bus in the background. Another page showed footprints leading off into total darkness. Investigators didn't know what to make of it. Were these fantasies, warnings, or actual memories? The drawings raised more questions than they answered. Revisiting the old files. Detective Sonia Harris, who was a rookie in 1999, felt a jolt of déjà vu. She'd worked the original case, interviewing parents, classmates, and staff. She remembered a single puzzling phone call from that night. A voicemail on a parent's machine where a student's whisper said, "Don't follow, please don't follow." Then a click. No clues had ever emerged to decipher that cryptic plea. Now, with the bus discovered, Detective Harris dived back into the archived notes, conflicting statements about the substitute driver, sightings of a suspicious van, a rumor about an unauthorized stop at a convenience store. Nothing conclusive had been found then, but the reopened investigation might shed new light on whether it was chance or something far darker. The driver's mystery, the identity of the substitute driver, Harold Griggs, was never confirmed. He wasn't on the school's usual roster of drivers. Paperwork showed an emergency substitution request, but the filing was incomplete. No address, no license number. Investigators at the time had believed Griggs might be a real driver who vanished with the bus. But newly uncovered records suggest Harold Griggs never existed in state databases. The phone number he provided was disconnected 2 days before the trip. Parents who met him on the morning of departure recalled little. A polite man with a baseball cap, unusual accent maybe. So who was behind the wheel that day? And how did he guide the bus so deep into dangerous, unmapped forest? A survivor emerges. In a twist no one saw coming, a man appeared at a state police post in Grants Pass, disheveled, malnourished, and claiming to be Christopher Shaw, one of the missing seniors. That name had been etched on countless flyers for years. Immediately, authorities took him into custody for questioning. Chris insisted he escaped the forest after the bus was sabotaged. He described hidden cabins, a group of masked figures who tormented them, and terrifying nights with no help in sight. But his words were jumbled, his memory frayed. Preliminary DNA tests matched the Shaw family, leaving the community stunned. If he was truly Christopher, how did he survive for 22 years out there? And why was he coming forward now? Chris's account, a nightmare. Speaking in hushed tones, Chris described that first day in the forest. The bus died abruptly on a remote logging road. Attempts to call for help went nowhere. No reception. Hours later, night fell. That's when they came. Chris recalled figures with flashlights, urging them deeper into the woods, claiming a safe lodge awaited them. Some students hesitated, others followed out of desperation. Chris claimed they were led to a decrepit compound, forced into locked rooms, and separated from each other. Days blurred into weeks. Some seniors tried to flee and were never seen again. Chris said he eventually slipped away during a thunderstorm, trekking for days until he collapsed near a highway. But he remembered little after that. Conflicting details. Despite Chris's vivid allegations, his timeline sparked debate. Medical tests showed signs of long-term malnutrition and old injuries, including a twisted ankle that healed poorly. Yet no direct evidence tied his story to the discovered bus. Investigators pressed him about how the vehicle ended up miles from any drivable path. Chris offered vague hints of the bus being towed at night, or perhaps disassembled, and reassembled, though that sounded improbable. Psychologists suggested trauma might have scrambled his recall. Meanwhile, families demanded answers. Could Chris identify who the masked figures were? Why would they hold teenagers captive for so long? The case teetered between heartbreak and disbelief, fueling conspiracy theories throughout the region. Another relic surfaces. Just as the investigation regained momentum, a local fisherman stumbled upon another artifact, a locked metal box near a remote creek. Inside were half-ruined Polaroids and pages from the same spiral notebook found on the bus. One photo showed Emily Tran, sketchbook in hand, her expression anxious. Others depicted nighttime gatherings around a dimly lit fire. The camera angles were odd, almost like someone was photographing them in secret. Scratched onto the metal box lid was a short message: "We are not alone." The box's contents indicated the group might have been monitored. Was it a survival diary or evidence of captivity? Each new piece of the puzzle drew investigators deeper into a sinister narrative. Strange footprints. During one sweep, a volunteer discovered footprints near a rocky ledge about half a mile from the bus. They were barefoot and spaced irregularly, as if the person was stumbling or running. A search dog picked up a scent trail that led nowhere, disappearing near a fast-moving creek. Investigators wondered if this path had been used by escapees. Could some missing seniors have fled, leaving behind traces only to be erased by nature? Or were these footprints left by individuals still lurking in the woods? The frantic aura returned. Families of the unaccounted-for seniors clung to a sliver of hope. Maybe a handful had survived, living wild or in hiding, but no one could be sure. Evidence of struggle. Near the bus, forensic teams discovered gashes in the metal exterior, like someone had desperately tried to pry open the windows. They found dried stains on seat cushions, possibly blood, sent for lab analysis. One corner seat had fingernail scratches on the wall. It appeared that panic had broken out. But for what reason? The seats, once covered in personal items, were scattered in patterns suggesting a fight or chase. Could the seniors have turned on each other in desperation, or were they attacked? The more investigators uncovered, the more sinister it felt. If an unknown group orchestrated this, how did they keep the place hidden for so long? The bus was a battered stage for unimaginable horrors. The mayor's daughter. Among the missing was 17-year-old Lacey Monroe, daughter of Forest Grove's mayor back then. Lacey was valedictorian, admired by peers. Her father had pulled every political string to expedite searches. Now, with partial remains identified, her mother Irene couldn't bear the renewed grief. Old diaries revealed Lacey's hesitations about the trip. She wrote of uneasy feelings about Mr. Griggs, how he eyed the rearview mirror too often, how she overheard him muttering coordinates to someone on the phone. These details haunted Irene. Had Lacey sensed something was wrong from the start? The diaries, protected in a library archive, were turned over to detectives, potentially confirming the entire excursion was part of a calculated plan. A town torn apart. The revelations split Forest Grove. Some believed the tragedy pointed to a predator who exploited the excitement of graduation. Others insisted something supernatural lurked in those woods, given rumored sightings of strange lights and chanting near the old logging trails. Families blamed the school for not verifying the driver. Conspiracy theories ignited. Was there a cover-up? Some folks alleged that a powerful local figure had orchestrated everything to keep dark secrets hidden. Tensions rose at council meetings, where pleas for more resources met with financial constraints. Meanwhile, a vigil was held at the school. Candle flames flickered in memory of the 17 positively identified. But the unanswered question echoed through the night. What truly happened to the rest? A long-lost audio tape. Days later, an Oregon-based journalist received a mysterious package containing a battered cassette labeled Field Recording, June '99. Believed to be recorded by Jared Fields, the class clown who loved filming and audio journaling. The tape crackled with static, then voices, panicked whispers, footsteps on gravel, someone gasping, "They're coming! Hide!" Then a heavy shuffle and a strained phrase, "The driver, he's not," cut off by a sudden bang. The tape ended with distant screams. Investigators confirmed the tape's authenticity. This auditory window into 1999 was short but harrowing, indicating the group faced a deliberate threat. It underscored that whatever or whoever they were, the seniors knew they were in danger, moments before communication fell silent. The final search. An elite search and rescue unit took charge, employing ground-penetrating radar and scent detection drones over a wide swath of the forest. They found more personal articles, a class ring, part of a Letterman jacket, scraps of clothing, but no signs of living survivors beyond Chris. The remains of a makeshift campsite suggested people had lived there for months or years, but the site was abandoned. Fire pits, bits of old ration packs, and a large totem-like structure carved with bizarre symbols. It felt as if whoever occupied the area had vanished overnight, leaving behind ghostly evidence. Investigators surmised that if any of the missing seniors had survived this long, they had moved on or were taken yet again. Pressure for closure. After 22 years, the magnitude of suffering weighed heavy. Families demanded closure, pushing lawmakers for deeper investigations and more federal support. Additional anthropologists and psychologists analyzed the artifacts, from the bone conditions to the scattered drawings. Everything suggested a combination of foul play, forced isolation, and a group dynamic gone horribly wrong. Meanwhile, the public grew restless. Local news anchors recounted the story nightly, with cameras following every lead. Gaps in official documents about the driver fed online speculation. Chris Shaw's credibility took hits from skeptics, but many believed he was traumatized. As the press hammered the authorities for progress, state officials announced a sweeping task force to bring the vanished seniors, dead or alive, home at last. A chilling conclusion. Eventually, the task force's final report confirmed that 17 students died inside that bus, likely within the first year of their disappearance. The cause? Starvation, exposure, or violence? Maybe all three. Forensic analysis suggested some remains were moved post-mortem, arranged for unknown reasons. About 10 individuals, including the substitute driver, remained unaccounted for. Although Chris Shaw survived, his memories of captivity and escape remain incomplete. The forest, it seems, swallowed the rest. Families erected a memorial stone near the bus site. Tucked among the tributes was a single note from an anonymous writer. "We won't forget. Neither should you." Even now, the Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest holds secrets no map can chart. So ends the lingering mystery of the class of 1999, an unsolved chapter of heartbreak, secrets, and resilience. Perhaps the forest still watches, waiting. Thanks for watching.